Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about, are you attracted to hot, feminine women but you can't get them? You can't ever seem to get the women that you really like and have a huge passion for. So if that's been a problem for you, then hopefully the purpose of this video is to help stop that from happening in the future and to actually become more successful with these women that maybe are hyper beautiful, maybe they're hyper alpha females. How can you win with these women who often have a lot of guys that are chasing after them? And how can you stand out and get a woman that you feel like you really deserve? Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, when I was in my 20s and in my teenage years, I could never seem to get the women that I really liked. And it took me a long time before I was able to actually get myself a really high quality woman because I was making so many mistakes. So often we go with beauty. So if you've seen a really beautiful woman, let's say we've all had a crush in our lives, whether it be at work or at school, college, whatever it may be. And you're like, whoa, she is beautiful. Those girls that just stand out to you. And you're like, oh man, I'd really love to get with her. I'd really love to make her my girlfriend. That would be amazing. I'd feel so amazing if that woman was on my arm, right? So if you've ever had that experience, but whenever you message women like this or you try and ask them out or whatever, and you just get rejected, like how can you get better at trying to attract these women? So like I said before, a lot of these women have a lot of guys fighting for their attention. So you have to stand out. So let's take, for example, let's say you're on a night out with your mates, with your buddies, and there's a really beautiful woman in the bar, the pub, the club, wherever it may be, and you would really like to get her number, or you would like to offer her your number or something along those lines. There's a high chance that she's already got a couple of numbers of other guys already. So when she gives you her number, it's always best to do what most people won't do, what most guys won't do, and that is wait a few days. When you get her contact information, don't message her right away. This doesn't even have to be with women that you meet at clubs and things like that, because honestly, really places like that is not a great place to meet women. But it can work also for women that you talk to if you're a college student, and also women that you meet at work or anywhere else. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a club, but let's just use that example for argument's sake. So you get this woman's number. All the other guys that she's got numbers from most likely are going to message her right there on the spot when they've just received her number, or they're going to message her later on that day or later on that night or in the next day. You, if you want to stand out and be different, wait a few days. Wait like 3 days. Let's say 3 days. Wait 3 days. That will make you stand out because all those other guys are going to be messaging her right away, maybe even send her multiple messages before she even gets a chance to read those messages. So you're standing out. And that's what you need to do. And when you message her, you want to get straight to the point. You obviously want to meet her out, right? You obviously want to take her on a date. You obviously want to get to know her better because obviously you find her really attractive. You'd love to get to know her. So what you do is then you try and set up a date with her and you try and make it a very concrete, definite date. So that means a day, a time, and a place. That makes a concrete date. So what you do is when you start chatting to her, you ask her, when are you free to see me? And then if she likes you and if she's still interested somewhat, she will say, okay, yeah, I'm free Thursday night, I'm free Saturday, I'm free Sunday. And then out of those options, you pick the time that you're also free. So let's say you're free on Saturday evening and you're like, great, how about we meet at this restaurant at this time on Saturday? And she'll say, that's great. And then you go out and you have a date, right? So you don't want to be wishy-washy because a lot of these guys that get her number are going to be chit-chatting with her for weeks before they pluck up the courage to ask her out on a date. But because you're being direct, you're going forward, you're going straight for it, it's going to show that you're more confident. And it's going to show that you're not afraid and you're not perplexed by her beauty. You're not, oh, God, I've got to chat to her first. I've got to get her to warm up to me first. You can get her to warm up to you when you meet her. Because honestly, talking online, talking via Messenger is not a great way to get to know someone. Messaging, even like handwritten letters, are only things that have been around for a short while. And as human beings, we've been crawling around this planet for tens of thousands of years, right? Maybe even more, maybe hundreds of thousands. I think the oldest bones that have been found are like somewhere between, I think, are like 100,000 years old. I'm not sure completely. But we've been around for a long time, right? And the way that we've always got to know other human beings is in person, through body language, letter writing, texting, especially texting and online stuff. That's only been around for like a few decades. But letter writing has been around for a bit longer. But ultimately, the best way to get to know someone is in person, because you can read their body language, and also it's a more spontaneous environment as well. Because when you're messaging someone and when someone's messaging you, you can kind of craft the message, you can delete stuff, you can rewrite stuff, you can come across really good in a message, and she can come across really good in a message. But ultimately, that's a fantasy. It's not real. The real person is who you meet on a date in front of you when you're talking to each other and getting to know each other. Best way to get to know someone. So that's extremely important thing to do. You need to meet out in person. And like I said, a lot of these guys are going to be trying to like just message her for a while first, testing the waters before they finally pluck up the courage to ask her out. But you're doing it straight away. You're doing it in the first interaction. And that's what I did with my wife when I first started talking to her. We met on Tinder. Not a great place to meet people usually, but we met on Tinder. And we talked a little bit when we matched. And then this all happened in the same evening, by the way, within the space of like maybe an hour or so. I asked for her Facebook information. She gave me her Facebook info. I looked at her profile to make sure that she was not a catfish. So I just scrolled down her timeline a little bit. She was tagged in things by her family and friends. There was pictures of her, and they matched the ones on her Tinder profile. So I was like, great, she seems like a normal person. She seems like a person who's real, not a catfish. And I messaged her on Facebook, and we arranged a date. And it all happened within that. All happened within the same evening. So, and so that's what you got to do when you start talking to a woman, whether it's online, whether you meet her out. Ask her out. Get a date set in stone. If you're really bold and if you're really brave, you can ask a woman out on the spot. So let's say you're talking to a woman when you're out, and you're like, hey, I think you're really good. I'd really love to get to know you better. When are you free to hang out? And then see what she says. If she likes you, she will let you know when she's free. Or if she's a bit unsure of you, then maybe she'll give you her phone number and her information, so maybe you can arrange something a bit later if she's not quite comfortable with doing something like that yet. Because some women might be a little bit more reserved, especially if she's had some kind of trauma in her past with guys, and she's not had a good goings with guys in the past. So some women might be a bit standoffish about doing something like that straight away. But you can get her to warm up to you as you date her, and to let her, and to show through your actions that you're a safe guy. So what this ultimately means then is that women that are really, really beautiful often get a lot of attention from guys. So these women tend to choose the guys who are least affected by them and least affected by their beauty. So if you're not fussed, you're not groveling at her feet, you're not DMing her all the time, you're not, over pursuing, you're just asking her out once a week, you're taking your time, she's going to trust you more and you're going to be acting way differently than all the other guys, okay? Because she can tell that you're not affected by her. You're not falling at her feet. You're not drooling all over her, right? And she can sense that by the fact that you're taking your time and you're being very balanced. You're not coming across too emotional. You're not trying to force her into things. You're just asking her out once a week. And then you meet out on a date. You have a good time. You're having a laugh. You're having fun. You're enjoying yourselves. You know, you're not taking yourself too seriously. You're not rushing her to make another date with you that night. You just leave it a few days before asking her out again. You're taking your time. And when she starts reaching out to you more, and she starts initiating conversations with you, because sometimes a woman will not directly say to you through a message or call you up and say, hey, I'd really like to see you again. She may not directly say that to you. She might actually message you and mention something that maybe you guys have already talked about, like, oh yeah, I watched that movie that you suggested, or oh, I read that book that you said, or oh, I saw this guy on TV, he really looks like you, look, he's wearing the same shirt as you. She's going to be messaging you about something completely random. But what she's really saying, this is kind of the secret language of women, what she's really saying is, hey, I was thinking about you. And this is an important thing to know. When a woman is messaging you, it means that you were on her mind. That's why she's reaching out to you. So, ask her out. Say, oh, yeah. So obviously reply to what she just said. So if she said, oh, yeah, I saw a guy on TV with the same shirt that you were wearing the other night. Yeah, and she like maybe sends you a picture. You're like, oh my God, that's so... You could be like, oh, yeah, wow, that's really funny. But it's great to hear from you. When are you free to hang out again? I'd really love to see you. Just say something like that, and then and I can guarantee if she's messaging you like that, she'll be like, yeah, I'm free, that sounds great too, I'll see you, maybe we can meet on Tuesday or something like that, and you'll be like, great, Tuesday sounds great for me, how about I meet you at this place, this time, and I'll see you then. That's all you need to do. So it's always important to remember that when a woman messages you first, it means that you are on her mind. It's a great way to know and to get things moving as well. So another thing that is really important though, when you're dating women that are really beautiful, that you really, really, really like, and you're hoping that things are really going to work out with because you're so attracted to her, it's important that you're learning to enjoy being single. Because if you're desperate for a relationship, often you can make mistakes because you're so desperate for a relationship. You want this woman to be your girlfriend. But if you really enjoy your life being single and you know how to use your time wisely, you become less attached to getting into a relationship and locking a woman down to a commitment because you like your lifestyle. Now, what the idea is then, the point where you want to get to is that a woman should be a complement to your life. It should be like the cherry on the cake, rather than the whole cake itself. You should enjoy your life how it is. You should set your life up in a way that you enjoy it, that pleases you. And then a woman is like an additional thing to your already awesome life. That's kind of like where you need to get to. So you need to think about, okay, so how can I create an awesome life for myself? Like how would I, in my vision, see my life? How would I really like things to be for myself? What things would I be doing? How would I feel, how can I feel awesome about myself every single day? And what are the things that I need to do to feel awesome about myself every single day? Things that are really empowering, that make you feel really good about yourself. And when you're living a life like that, even if you're not completely 100% happy with everything in your life, you're less attached to making a woman your girlfriend. And therefore, you don't mind taking your time as much before locking a woman down to a commitment, because you're wanting to find the right woman. Because obviously if you're already living a great life, then you also want a woman that's going to make your life even better. You don't want a woman that's going to make your life worse. So you're going to be very careful with the women that you're dating. And during that process, you may actually even find yourself ignoring or beginning to dump women that are no longer good for you. Even if they're like 10 out of 10 on the beauty scale, she might have lots of red flags, and you're like, hey, you know what? If this woman came into my life, she's probably going to make it worse. She's not going to be a compliment to my life. So I'm going to not continue to pursue this woman. So those are really important things to think about as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christinelovridge.com and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.